There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today our guests are a little bit different. They recently finished a successful run of a sold-out off-Broadway show called The Wizard of Friendship. They are now releasing an original cast recording of Lewberger, The Wizard of Friendship, which will be available on June 23rd. Anywhere you listen to comedy albums, music, you'll be able to find it everywhere. So welcome the members of Lewberger, Hughie Stone Fish, Keith Habersberger, and Alex Lewis, and thank you for joining me.
Hey,
Happy
thanks
to be
for
here.
having us.
Excited to have you. This is a Cats-based podcast, so I want to get to your album, but I got to at least start with a little bit of your familiarity and history with Cats. And Alex, I know you have some, but I'm curious to hear for all three of you, how much about Cats do you know? What's your experience? Have you seen the show? Have you seen the 2019 movie? Like, where are we in the Cats world?
I'll just
Hughie
jump
go
right in
first.
here. Yeah, because we know Alex obviously knows everything, but actually, I'm fairly well versed in the Cat verse. The album, of course, I would know more or less front to back, and then I've seen lots of different iterations of it. Of course, all the movies, and I've tried to watch the bootlegs and the Twitter things, and the YouTube. So I'm coming into this conversation feeling pretty prepared.
Great.
I have two cats, and I am familiar with the songs and generally the plot, but I've actually never seen a production of Cats on stage. And my wife refused to watch the Cats movie with me, and everyone else saw it, and a lot of people didn't want to watch it again, and I couldn't go it alone, so I actually haven't seen it. But I want to. I just would need a friend.
Got it.
All right, I feel guilty now.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know Cats at all. I'm not familiar with this musical pretty much in any regard. I had a cat. She died tragically. It's a lot. You know, the whole cat thing. Now I got to watch a whole musical, and they're all cats up there, and one of them is going to be a fucking prince. We'll see how this podcast goes for us.
Okay. Alex Lewis here. Cats was my favorite musical growing up when I was a kid. It was one of the first shows I think it was the first show I saw on Broadway. My mom tried to get me to go sit on old Deuteronomy's lap during intermission because he stayed on stage. I had the VHS tape of the Pro Shot when I was a kid, watched it front to back till the thing broke. I have seen it several times since then, both on Broadway and on tour. I love Cats. I was Mr. Mistopheles, like I said, for I think 3 Halloweens, and one Halloween, the biggest heartbreak was that I spilled milk all over the sparkles, and it was never the same. And I saw the movie when my wife dragged me to it, and that I didn't want to see the movie because it didn't look to me like they had put the care and love into that movie that I thought it deserved. And I was right. They didn't. It was made by a bunch of people that don't give a shit about cats, if you ask me. And I think it could have been, I think you could maybe make a great movie. We already have a great movie. And it's the 90s Pro Shot. And that's what they should. Just put that out again or make another Pro Shot. I don't care.
There you go.
But, yep. Anyway.
I love it.
Don't hold
Cats
back.
Fan. Oh, I
There you
won't.
go.
This is the podcast for me.
Yeah.
It is.
Like,
So how old were you when you went the first
love
time?
Cats. I must have been like 4.
Okay.
3 or 4.
So all of the craziness of the plot went over your head.
Oh yeah, I mean, the first time I really even recognized that there was a plot, I was probably like 15 when it was when I saw it at the Pantages, because when I was a kid, just watching it back and forth, I just was excited about the songs because I thought they were so amazing, and and like the only thing I really knew when I was a kid was, oh, Mr. Mistopheles is like the big savior cat, and he's like the star of the show to me. So that's
I love it.
About all I knew. Then when I went
for me,
Contagious, please.
Oh, if you don't mind, Alex, I was just going to say, speaking of our sort of childhood memories, it was like the first time I saw Bombalurina up there, because the whole time I'd been seeing Bombalurina and I'd been thinking about Mungo Jerry because I knew the song so well. So to see that Rumple Teaser finally just coming in at the end there with the big song, for me, it was really a special experience.
What was that song again, Huey?
The song that Rumple Teaser sings?
Yeah, I forget what it. Can you just sing a little bit of it?
Yeah, of course, bro. Mungo, Jerry, and Rumple Teaser. Mungo, Jerry, and Rumple. We've done this one. Mungo, Jerry, and Rumple Teaser. Hey. La la la.
Something
like that. They do sing that. Mungo, Jerry, and
Rumple Teaser. We're a notorious couple of
yes,
cats.
brand of cats.
But there's a controversy there because there's two versions of that song.
Mhm.
One that I think is terrible and one that I think is amazing.
Oh, which one are you on? Because the new movie did one, and the productions I've seen have done the other, and it's a mixed crowd.
The movie did the shit version. In my opinion.
I agree. So that's why I just want to make sure. I think it's a British version, and I think it's definitely way worse.
Ugh, awful.
So, Keith, how would you explain the plot of Cats to someone who's going to see it for the first time?
You got it. There's all these cats. First of all, there's all these cats. And there's a time where one of the cats gets to be chosen to die. But through death, they maybe live on forever or something. And they're all just sort of trying to figure out who gets to die. And they're not sure. And they have to work it out through song and dance. And then finally, one of them dies.
Right.
It's pretty close. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's
like,
what I love about it is that you all know.
They become the Jellicle Cat.
Yeah. You all know more than I did when I saw it the first time. I walked in and knew nothing. I didn't even know Memory was in the show.
A spaceship comes down at the beginning of the show.
Right. Yeah.
There's aliens or something.
I went for the revival.
Yeah, and they're all
crazy.
Roller skating.
That's Starlight Express. They have to make the Jellicle choice. The Jellicle cats have to make the Jellicle choice and decide which cat gets to be reborn. So Keith, you were kind of right.
Right.
Yeah. I saw
and then 9 of them go on a journey, all of their different skills, to bring the Jellicle cat to Mordor.
Right.
Pretty much. Yeah. Exactly.
Toss
destroy
one of the cats into the flames.
I saw
to become the Jellicle choice.
Yeah, I saw Leona Lewis. So I just thought I saw an X Factor on drugs the first time I saw it. With death being the win, like that's what you win is the surprise. Like then at the end, you don't get $1 million or an album. You get to go to the Heaviside layer, which I didn't know what that was. But so you all like clearly are familiar with the show. You've done Mungo and Jerry Rumple Teaser. I know in your I know the words I don't. You've done Memory, right? You've done that kind of
yes, Memory.
And how did you were you, Keith, are you at all familiar? Like you obviously know the tune. Like Memory was the only song I knew when I saw the show the first time. Like did you know some of it but just not clearly the words?
Yeah, and so most of the Broadway songs that people know, because some of them have made their way into pop culture. I know the first verse or the first chorus. Yeah. Like most people do, but I don't know anything beyond that. So I know Memory, All Alone in the Moonlight.
And that's it.
That's it. I know the part that gets quoted when there's a compilation CD in the 90s and they're sort of telling you the songs that'll be on it and they play about 10 seconds of a song. I know that much of a Broadway song that I might know. And I often know how they go musically. I can remember, melody and I can guess harmony pretty easily. A lot of them follow a lot of similar tropes, even if especially when their musicals written by the same person, right? They have some similar musical genre is to themselves. But every time we do those things, also one of the reasons I know them is Hughie is learning how to play it in about 60 seconds, while Alex plays it for him in his ear and also sort of hits Hughie, establish the rhythm, and goes da 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 da. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? And then they just do it, and I'm like, okay, let's go for it. And
we used to try to whisper and keep it quiet from Keith. We used to try to do it all whispery to each other, and then we're like, hey, it's too much. It's too much. Just Keith, just go on your phone, try to not pay. Then now it's maybe we should all just take a second to learn a melody.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, just learning the melody is the most important part. Otherwise, I really derail things.
Well, I want to play a version of this game, but we don't have the musical instruments. But I know that Hughie and Alex and I know the characters. Keith, I don't think you probably know as well. So what I'm thinking we do is I want to list off a character name, and I want to have you describe them as their cat form, and then we will decide how close he is to their actual character background. And the best part about this is that there isn't consensus in a lot of this in the fandom, the Cats fandom. So there's a lot of ways you can go where there's going to be a group that's going to be like, that's definitely not at all right. There's a group that might be like, oh, I could see that. So are you up to play this game?
I'm so into playing Guess the Cat.
All right. So let's start with Alex's potential grandfather that he almost sat on stage with Old Deuteronomy.
Old Deuteronomy, he's a gray cat. He's known for his incredibly long hair, and he's sort of the sage, right? He's like all the cat. He knows the deal. All the cats, if they didn't know how to be Jellicle, they would go to him and be like, what's going to happen? Am I going to be reborn? Do you think I have what it takes? And he's probably the least dancing of the cats, but he can bust a move.
Love it. Alex, Hughie, how do you feel about that?
I mean, were we going by
percentage? Said it better myself.
Yeah, give him a percentage grade.
100% to me. 100 out of 100.
I'll give him 50. I'll give him like 50%.
50.
That's a 75 average.
Yeah,
That's a C.
Okay, let's go with the Rum Tum Tugger.
Rum Tum Tugger, obviously the funniest, one of the funnier names. Definitely, he's the horny one. So horny, always trying to fuck all the other cats. Effectively does fuck one of the cats, and is a cat himself. And he is sort of black and white.
Who do you think he's fucking?
Wow.
The one who sings Memory.
Okay.
That's the Phantom.
Yeah, the Phantom.
All right, what's our scoring here on this one?
To me, I gotta take half a point off, because it felt like, just something about. I just want you to be confident with your answer, so I'm going to give you 99.5% for that one. But other than that, all the information was correct. I'd have to say.
Right.
Honestly, if you had stopped at he wants to fuck all the other cats, you would have gotten 100% from me. But everything else, including him wanting to fuck Grisabella, I'm sorry, but no, he
doesn't want to.
No, I don't think so, and he doesn't.
I don't think so.
I don't.
Well, he doesn't. He just doesn't. He doesn't.
She presented.
What about before she went to the dark side? When she was the glamour cat, you think he would have been in?
Well,
there's a whole
when
dark
she
side
was the
thing
glamour
in
cat.
cats.
When she was the glamour cat, this is a different. I don't even think he was alive though for that. He's
fair.
Young. So I'm gonna say that he wouldn't fuck Grisabella. And I guess maybe in her prime, but if we're talking within the scope of the show, it's just not happening. And I'm sorry, Keith, I can only give you about 30% for that.
30%. Wow!
I was waiting for you to say.
Then you know what?
Mistopheles.
I'm going to retroactively give you 105%.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I thought you were about to say Mistopheles because there is a big contingency that think those two are together.
Grisabella,
Rum Tum
Tugger
and
Mistopheles.
Oh, Rum Tum Tugger.
Oh, Mistopheles.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Mr. Mistopheles.
Yeah,
that's what I nice.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what
You were
about
close.
Bombalurina and Demeter? Because they sing a song together.
Right. Yeah, it's weird because how much should we talk about incest on this show?
I mean, they're cats.
They're clearly from the same litter, but they're also romantically involved.
Right.
And they, and that makes us all feel weird, but at the same time, it's fiction. They're cats.
And no one's really talking about that.
And no one's really
cat
talking about that. I remember, one of the things I remember most about them is how much they loved spaghetti in the show. How much spaghetti they eat. Now it's from a garbage can, but a rose is a rose by any other name kind of thing. It's still spaghetti.
Yep. Exactly. And it's just not talked about enough. here. So I'm glad I'm glad you're doing that.
So you got him at 110.
Honestly, for this one, I'm gonna have to go 120 just because I feel like what more could I possibly do?
Alex, look ready.
Do you think Demeter is a man? Is a male cat?
Did I say that?
I'm asking if that's what you think.
No, actually, I think both of them were sisters.
Okay.
Which is
Feels
why
like you-
the incest thing gets to be dodged, right? Because they can't procreate.
Oh my god!
Okay. Well, I don't
That's
believe
too-
you. I think
but-
you know.
From the same litter. It's not that I don't know. It's the fact that the show itself dares to deal with those themes that I have to bring it up.
Of course.
I wouldn't ever bring this up on my own accord, but I know that
Of course.
that's one of the underlying
No.
themes in cats. And
I mean, Andrew Lloyd Webber, that's part of what you get with him, from The Phantom of the Opera to Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat to Evita, School of Rock, Sunset Boulevard, what have you.
Bad Cinderella.
You're getting cutting edge. Bad Cinderella. I mean, he's taking swings. And we take swings too. And you don't knock them all out of the park, but maybe if you're lucky, you get a bunt.
yep.
Is Cat's a bunt? That's
Not for me to
Okay.
say. Not for me to say.
All right, I'm going to give Keith 20% on that one. I'm afraid.
Keith, do you know the song they sing?
So it's
Firm, but
No. Okay.
I sure don't. Is it not romantic at all?
It's
No.
very sexual, but they're singing about the villain. And there's potential
They're
that
singing
one
about
was
who
abused
Idris-
by exactly. And that one might have been abused by
Could
that.
one interpret that song as them wanting to have a three-way with the villain?
For sure.
maybe.
Would that
Well,
not perhaps then
Yes.
Yeah.
have a theme?
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah, but
We
So-
we didn't write it.
all right.
they're not from the same litter, though.
The debate of
I
sisters
see.
or friends is definitely hotly contested, and I sparked that on social media the other day. And what was interesting is everyone who'd been in the cast all said friends, and a lot of the fans said sisters. So it is there's no answer
What?
there.
Okay. Very
What about
interesting.
Skimble Shanks?
Skimble Shanks, the railway cat.
Mhm.
Oh,
I've heard that phrase
Yeah.
from Zach
are you
Kornfeld.
looking that up online?
No. I wish I could show you my screen. I can't. No. Hands are here. No, I know that from Zach Kornfeld, who's one of the other Try guys, loves the Cats movie, and he has mentioned Skimble Shanks, the railway cat, more than once. So I'm just going to
Skimble.
leave it there because I know I aced it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you 100%. I'll give you 100% on that, just because.
Bam.
He's a railway cat.
Bam.
Okay.
Yes.
We're gonna do two more. Because I think
Oh,
you gotta
boy.
do.
Wow, there's a lot of characters.
I mean,
in this
there's
show.
30-ish of them if you want to go to all of the like.
Dang,
my
that's so
God.
many
kittens
cats.
and all the other ones.
Almost as many characters as in Six.
Yeah.
And there's the rats too, right?
Yeah, there are. Let's go to that one then. We'll go to Jenny Anydots.
What? They're a rat, and they're played by James Corden. Doesn't he play one of the rats?
He plays Buster for Jones.
Or, no, he plays a big cat that
Hold on.
fucks around with some
Keith,
rats.
there are no rat characters. There is a cat that hangs out with rats.
But we don't see the rats.
You do for like kind of in the tap number they come out, but it's cats kind of portraying it as like this is part of my story.
All right, what was this cat's name again?
Jenny Anydots.
I was Jenny Anydots.
Jenny Anydots.
Well, she's got spots on her fur, right? That's how she looks, and that's where she gets her name. And she is sort of known for, I don't know, being hilarious.
Oh.
She's just hilarious. She's sort of the comic relief in a show about a bunch of cats fucking until they die.
Right.
That last part, 100% accurate.
I am going to give you 90% this time, Keith, because you left out one key. You only left out one key factor. Jenny Anydots is a Gumby cat.
Right. Made of plastic.
And what does that
Made
mean?
of clay.
It's in the song.
I don't actually.
You know what I mean? I have no idea what it
I don't
means.
think it's ever really explored what a Gumby. There, let me Google it real quick.
She's technically like she's supposed to be the motherly cat. It's Rebel Wilson in the movie, and she's the one that eats the cockroach that went viral.
Right.
But yeah,
I've seen all the trailer clips of the movie because they were everywhere.
I've never heard an explanation of the Gumby cat. I think it's just
I don't know. They just
says in the song.
They explain it in the song. He sits and sits and sits and sits, and that's what makes a Gumby cat. That's what makes a Gumby cat. I guess she sits.
That's it. That's all it is.
Gumby cat.
That's all it is.
I'm a Gumby cat.
In the Wizard of Friendship, there's a lot of lore that we've built into it. That it's just part of the lore. You know, it's like you just expected to know what a Flim Flam the Sausage Man is. He has his whole backstory. We know his backstory. And as you delve into the Cats universe, as you delve into the Wizard of Friendship universe, you understand the lore a little bit better.
So all right. Before we get to that, I want to come back to that point here because I actually do have some Wizard of Friendship Cats questions. I think I heard some.
Oh, there we go.
I heard some inspiration that maybe was there or maybe not there, and I'm very curious. But we got to do Grisabella before we end this game.
Of course.
Grisabella, who again sings Memory, we know that, and she dies.
Mm-hmm.
She dies, and she floats up into the sky.
Yeah,
or something.
Depends on the Depends on the production. How much money they have.
Right. She dies and ascends because she becomes the cat of jellicalness. Right. She chose she dies to be reborn. Yeah, I knew that, and that's why. She seems like she's having a rough go throughout the whole show, right? She's sort of shat on by all the other cats, and that's why she sings Memory because she is willfully alone.
It's because Tugger rejected her.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the score? What's the scoring here?
I'll give him 100%.
100%.
I gotta give my boy something.
Yeah. Love that.
I appreciate it. Thank you for playing this game. This has been super fun to kind of go through.
Was anyone keeping track of the scores throughout the game?
I was. Keith's total average. I did.
No, don't tell us. Don't tell us. I want it to be a mystery.
Okay. Maybe someone can tweet at us. #Keith score.
#Keith score. I love it.
#Rum Tum Tugger Keith.
The Rum Tum Total.
The Rum Tum Total. #the Rum Tum Total. I love it. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died. Okay. So let's pivot to the Wizard of Friendship because the album it's hilarious. It's so fun. And there are a couple parts where I was listening to it and going, I'm assuming it's not Cats related, but there are some things where, since that's my knowledge of Broadway is Cats, it's like, wow, I could see some inspiration here. But Hughie, I want to start with that first part because part of Cats' rehearsal process is they actually go through the story with each character because you don't get that much information to work off of. So when you all were producing your show, and as you just said, there's the lore. How much lore did you tell everybody before you went on stage? Not the audience, with the actual cast members.
A lot of the lore was developed as it went.
Okay.
With a flip-flop. But there's also so much flip-flop is. Exactly. That's my point. But if you see the show, you'll know. But there's so much of the Wizard of Friendship is really based off of our friendship and our history and who we are as people. So certainly as we were working on the show, as we're working with the cast, as we're trying to explain, this is why this thing is happening right now. It's based off of this thing that actually happened. So there definitely was a lot of lore discussion in that regard.
And then something that's very fun is we go to the land of Nofrendia, and the cast actually made our lore reality at the end. They, how you can buy and name a star. They actually named a star Nofrendia, so they made Nofrendia a real place, which was very, very sweet, but also, like you said, we were building the lore. But yeah, it was inspired by this old is a few things, both like Labyrinth and Wizard of Oz, obviously, but also these old things called We Sing, which were direct to VHS children's movies that taught you folk songs. And the children always get sent to a magical land where they learn basically little lessons about sharing and friendship. So we wanted to make a sort of whimsical, ridiculous thing that actually did explore how adult friendships work. And adult friendships are different than child's friendships, is that in children, you're told to be like, you be nice to each other and you will be friends and be kind. And that's true. But as adults, you all have your own lives and you're sort of done becoming who you are. So part of being an adult friend is understanding the negative parts and basically I have more favorable experiences with you than none. So we are friends. It's how much can you tolerate one another's silliness because you enjoy the positive so much more. And all of us, we're very much brothers at this point. We get on each other's nerves from time to time, but never so much that would stop us from being friends.
Is there any, as you've kind of now gone through this process and you've had, you have a finished product, did you go back and realize that there's any moment from one of those childhood videos that you saw that was just like, wait, that was it. That was part of it. Like, I know the inspiration came from it, but was there like an actual, like one scene or one thing that came from it?
Well, I would say the costuming for Alex's tickle monster is really, really one-to-one a costume from We Sing Big Rock Candy Mountain specifically. And it was like the exact aesthetic. Even like the giant bird in a man suit in that one is also like this goofy giant bird. So the characters from that one kind of exist in our show. And the way that We Sing in Sillyville, which is like they go and they meet different pockets of people and learn little lessons from each pocket of people. Our show absolutely has that. We have like the depressed punks who we learn the lesson of depression. Don't cure depression. You just learn to live with it. And how do you do that? By filling your life with things that make you happy despite your sadness. And so it is very, very silly. But I think the depression song ended up being something that grew to have more importance than we realized when we first started staging it. Because we even discovered the idea of you fill your life with distractions because you're never not depressed. If you have depression, you just have to learn to live with it and work through it and find things that make you happy regardless of that. And that's actually something that happened in figuring out how to explain that on stage was something we discovered through the process.
Yeah, it kind of came up in the run, really, because it was like, we'd been doing the show a couple times and we sort of found that line like he was talking about sort of how, like we would, it was a joke that we were making sort of in the scene. Like, Hughie and Keith sort of improvised this bit about, you're depressed, so just focus on your hobbies. Like how you surf and box and how you got married. But it really did, marriage obviously being not a hobby, but that's what's funny about it. So, they would do that and then it would cause me to sort of react a certain way. And like those lines would change every night. And all of a sudden it made the song make more sense in the scene.
Yeah. I'm very curious about, you've been doing musical comedy for a while and improv and all this like amazing stuff. And, you guys are super well known. When was the idea to pivot it to a musical, like to actually turn it into this like full story musical versus some of the other stuff where you've done in the past?
We were inspired definitely by the comedy specials in the pandemic, Boburnham's Inside. And even before that, Sack Lunch Bunch, and just thinking about truly, we thought about the word comedy special and thought about what makes us special in terms of comedy musicians, like what makes us different. And what makes us different is how our shows are incredibly physical, very theatrical. Like in our concerts, I'll leave stage and come back as Santa Claus. Hughie will leave stage and come back as a gay club chili server. We have all these very theatrical moments in the show, and we sort of realized we were doing musical theater even though we weren't doing a musical. So we thought, well, we should just do a musical. And Alex really spearheaded the effort of writing a script that sort of wove through the songs we were performing on tour. We created this story, we developed it, and we did it in LA. we then took it and developed it more and brought it to New York. And, we've been working on it for a year and a half at this point in some capacity. And we'll continue working on it. We'll take it on tour next spring, and it'll have changed slightly. But this album is the culmination of tons and tons of work. And the album also has narration tracks that help you guide through the musical storyline still. So it's halfway between a comedy album and a cast Broadway album and just almost an audiobook, and it just catches you up on what's going on right now.
No, you can, having listened to it from start to finish, you can follow the story. Like you hear with the narration is super, like it tells you, I like the Wizard of Oz kind of inspiration, because that's how I felt listening to it, of like, oh, I'm going stage to stage. And then in between each one, instead of meeting, the Scarecrow, I'm meeting the Wicked Waltz. It's like I'm getting something hilarious in between, which was super fun.
That's awesome. That's what we wanted it to feel like.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What other, I know you said some of the shows, but like when you thought about musical, and then you obviously brought in some of these incredible performers with you, with the Wayne Bradys and Alex Brightmans, like what other inspirations, like did you pull from a Cats and Andrew Lloyd Webber, Sondheim? Like, did you think about those things, or did you really try to stick to your comedy style?
When we were producing the album, we definitely were very aware of musical theater. This is a musical theater album. And so we jump genres, and we tried to like honor the genre and really produce the music, to sound cool and in whatever style that we're doing it to sound authentic. And we're making a musical theater album. So we did want to, pay homage, show our respect, like be a part of this world where if you're, a hardcore theater person, you can really enjoy the sonic quality of our album. If you're not a hardcore theater person, you can really enjoy the sonic quality. And so there were certain, Jay, who's our other co-producer, and he's phenomenal. He's a Grammy Award-winning engineer, and we talked a lot about records we were listening to that were theater albums. We'd send each other records back and forth, and just catch, like even for we have a song by our merch. It was like, oh, we both were really drawn to songs that, a lot of great theater songs start with just a piano. And our songs, we produced it. There's so much sonic quality, but we were like, wait, we need to have one moment where it's just piano and vocals. So those were definitely intentional decisions that we made.
Love that.
Yeah, and then in the staging of the musical, we really found ways to try to pay homage and also spear the tropes of musicals. So I'm a Dick, we really leaned into the fact that it sounded like a Les Miserables lament. And so we have it in a spotlight, and there's this hot dog costume. It's a penis singing the sad song, and the background dancers are incredibly dramatic, and they move very slowly and stoically. And then by our merch, it's very much like this colorful explosion. It's it's a first act finale, and it's sort of, it's kind of irrelevant to the plot, but it also is meant to make fun of the fact that all musicals really make their money by selling merch and and you want your fans to buy that Wicked hoodie, and the fans want to wear it, so they will connect with someone on the street because they both wear a Wicked hoodie. And then Depression is meant to be a big bombastic, opener of Act 2. You need a high energy thing that gets people back in. We've actually wrapped up Alex's his personal journey storyline, but we need something that brings us back into the second act that still touches on that and is a big group number and has tap dance, right? You got to have tap dance somewhere in the show. We've got to have our opening number, which is like very, very traditional, like Name and Lights Broadway, the Stupid Idea song. So we really tried to hit all those bullet points. And when we staged them was the fun of figuring out, how do we make this look like that musical over this moment? How do we make this look like that musical? And it was really quite fun.
And then what was it like having, you brought in, Wayne Brady and Alex Brightman are two incredible improvisers and performers. Like, how much did they add to your already, incredible, like what you had started? Like, they come in and collaborate with you. What was it like having those two and everyone else that joined you?
It was really cool to collaborate with them. And Dashaun Wesley is also an incredible improviser as well. And he really got a chance to improvise in Giant Bird in a Man Suit. He came in with some parts that he had written, and then he just gave us a bunch of takes in the studio, just sort of going through his style of commentating, and it was really cool. And Wayne and Alex, they're like, who's cooler and better than Wayne Brady and Alex Brightman at doing this? So, you get in the studio with guys like that, and for us, it's like, please whatever you want to change about this, whatever choice you want to make, like, please, 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 please make it. And for them, it's cool because they were excited to be a part of our project and they appreciate, the artistry that we bring. So they were also coming from a place of, we really want to do this the way that you guys intended when you wrote it. So everyone coming from that perspective and everybody on both sides being like, no, you should try something new. And then being like, no, I want to keep it this way. Like, it all really came to this beautiful collaboration between us and them.
Yeah, and you might think that because they're such great improvisers, they came in and the things that they would change would be lyrics, but actually the things they changed were musical decisions. Wayne really, his, like, how he felt it musically should go into the Wizard of Friendship solo, and we love that. And Brightman changed how the performance of his songs as well was performed compared to how we thought it, but they all honored the lyrics, which is super cool of them. And they found a way to make it theirs while still, like you said, honoring the work that we had done prior.
So you've mentioned Les Mis and The Wizard of Oz and a couple others. Was there any Cats inspiration?
Alex, you wrote everything. You would know best.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm thinking. I will say, like, like turning into an evil thing, like turning into the Anus Tickle monster, was slightly inspired by Cats and like the Andrew Lloyd Webber mysticism, but nothing like as directly. Like, it was never like, oh, this song's exactly like Memory or whatever.
Can I tell you where I heard it?
Maybe a little bit in Biomerge. Where did you hear it?
So the Wicked Waltz feels a little bit. It feels like the ball, because the ball's an orgy at its core. And so the Joe Cabal is an orgy, and the Wicked Waltz, the minute I started hearing the explanation, I'm like, this feels kind of Joe Cabal-y.
I mean, I know that in staging that number, it became quite a physical number. Well, that's something we do on tour, and I sing it, and it's incredibly different. The touring version of that song and the musical version of that song couldn't be more different while actually sounding and being the same lyrics, because it's very movement-based choreography, in probably the closest choreography look to a Cats number, because everyone is fully embodying all the monsters as we name them. So you're really hopping quickly through a very physical number, and they were fully grinding on the ground, and it was a lot of floor work. It was really so funny because it was so uncomfortably sexy, and while still being monsters. It's probably the closest thing we have to a Cats-esque number.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. Maybe a little bit in Keith and the Band too.
How so on that one?
Just because, or even the Wizard of Friendship song, it also kind of has a little bit of Cats in it, because I feel like Keith and the Band, it's rock, but it's like it is kind of, it's got Andrew Lloyd Webber rock a little bit in it, and what we're doing, sort of the whole narration almost of singing about Keith and his life from two other characters. It's very Andrew Lloyd Webber, and it's very Cats. Like, in that moment, Keith almost is the rum tugger, and we're singing about how he's a curious cat.
Yeah.
Wow. So I see that a little bit there.
I think, Keith, you look honored to be called Rum Tum Tugger right there.
I sure do. I feel I'm so honored.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Wizard of Friendship, you could say, is a little McCavity-esque.
I heard some McCavity in Modern Tortures, but I think it's because I was just thinking villain.
Well, it's the Wizard's number.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I heard a lot of
But what I'm saying is what I'm saying is the song is about the Wizard of Friendship, sort of how McCavity is about McCavity.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Cats just really influences everything. People just don't know it. That's the key. That's the key. It's the reason we're here still today. The reason I have 100 plus episodes talking about this crazy show that I had never seen until 2016.
Wow.
We're going to do a little rapid fire. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know anything about Cats until I moved to New York. So the Cats came through Indiana, but I didn't go. let's do some rapid fire about cats. So each one of you, if you could go on and play one character in Cats for one night, which character would you want to perform as?
Mr. Mistopheles.
Immediately. I love it.
Keith?
The punny one.
Jenny Anydots. You're in for Jenny Anydots now?
Yeah.
I'd probably want to be the Rum Tug Tugger.
Tugger. Okay. Who are your favorite and least favorite Cats characters?
Favorite is Mr. Mistopheles. Least favorite is Rum Tum Tugger.
Okay.
My favorite is the railway cat.
Thanks.
Spindle things. I can't get enough. And I don't prefer the orange one.
Can I change my answer about the cat who I'd want to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I'd want to be Mungo Jerry.
Mungo Jerry.
Oh, that's the one that's my least favorite.
Plot twist. Plot twist.
Wow. What a dick.
You want to do the cartwheels across the stage and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just, the good version of that song is awesome.
Yeah.
I think
Jerry and Rumble Teaser.
my least favorite cat is probably, I don't know. I like a lot of the cats. It's hard. That's such a hard question to answer. I guess McCavity, just because he's the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Get rid of McCavity.
You know what? No. You know who my least favorite is? I'm going to say Bustopher Jones.
It's a good answer. It's a common answer.
That cat hasn't come up.
You know, honestly, that cat, there's a Royal Caribbean 90-minute version, cruise version of Cats, and Bustopher Jones is not in it. So it's the first cat cut from productions. So it's a good choice.
He is. Like, what's his whole thing is, respectfully, is that he's fat.
He's fat and he's rich.
Like, that's
a fat cat.
It's just like,
fat cat.
He's like you know what he's like? He's like the ANPTP who the writers are striking against right now. That's Bustopher Jones.
That's
topical.
Yeah. I love it.
And my favorite cat will probably always be Mr. Mistopheles. I wouldn't want to play him because he doesn't really get to sing. But come on, he's got that amazing outfit, and he's.
I mean, you did it for 3 years, so for Halloween. So
he gets to do the
He gets to do the 360 on the roller skating half pipe.
Yeah.
He does the loop.
Yeah. We're combining a lot to Andrew Lewberger shows here.
Yeah, he's the cat that sings AC/DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's Prince Charming. Okay. If you could add one of the Cats characters to Lewberger, who would you want to bring on tour with you?
I would like to bring Guy Branzella. No, she the one who sings Memory.
Grisabella.
Yes, Grisabella. I would like to bring her. When I Wikipedia'd her while we were talking about her earlier, I saw that she was loyal.
That might be
the most memorable song.
Heavily debated because she abandons her family, so I'm not sure I'd call her loyal. She comes back though. That's the arc of the story.
Ooh. Well, it's too late. I've already given my answer, but
I would bring Gus the theater cat on tour with us.
What? There's a theater cat?
Gus the theater cat. Yeah.
Well, that would be the obvious. Okay. Pete?
You would love Gus
Scrimbleshanks.
I bet I would.
Scrimbleshanks because he's the railway cat. Because so often we're renting cars and flying, and maybe we should be taking the train.
Yeah.
To get around. Maybe you could show us how to get to our destinations a different way that's maybe more economical.
We'll keep you in order for sure.
Good idea.
Okay.
Good idea. Yeah. Great
So
ones.
this is the thesis of this podcast is that I don't think Grisabella is the right Jellicle choice. So I'd love to hear if you want to defend Grisabella or if you want to pick any other cats. And I'm going to tell you that the fact that y'all didn't know Gus is one of the most common choices, non-Grisabella. So I'm excited to hear if you want to pick somebody else or if you want to defend Grisabella.
So we want to choose the one who we think should be reborn, other than if we think that someone else should have been reborn, other than Grisabella.
Correct. Who would be your Jellicle choice?
Should we give Keith Should we give Keith and Hughie a couple of the names that haven't been said? Just
No,
so
I think
Grisabella.
I think Grisabella is my choice. I'm perusing the fuck out of this Wikipedia page right now, and I feel like
Keith?
paragraph and a half in, she should be the Jellicle cat.
Yeah, I mean,
Keith, I
I
just want to give
personally
you.
think. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just want to give you your options before you make a decision, Keith, because there's some great cat options. You've got Munkus Trap, you've got Pounceable, you've got Rumpus Cat, and you've also got Jelly Lorem. We haven't talked at all about Jelly Lorem. There's Jemima, and etc., and Carbuckety. So,
Can't be real.
you've got
Tantamile.
Trail.
I'm gonna go with Rumpus Cat because when you isn't there something like a rumpus room in your house, which is like for all the fun? So I think the Jellicle cat should be a cat that's going to be bringing fun and youth into their next life, into being reborn. The memory cat, she's so sad. Do we really need another sad cat to be born? No. We need a happy cat, one that would even have a rumpus good time. So I got to go for Rumpus Cat. It's actually personally always been my secret fave. And I think that he should have died to be reborn to see a sequel. Finally, a sequel.
Cats 2.
Musical. Cats 2. Rumpus returns.
I would go the return of the rump. I would go with Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer over Grisabella.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait, you're allowed to do
feel
two
like-
cats?
Well, they're sort of a unit.
I
Like
They're
cat dog.
They're sort of a unit.
Like,
I think there's no
They're
rules in
both like,
cats.
they but yeah, and they're it's like they're sort of two calico-looking cats, and I feel like they get a lot of heat because they sort of seem like McCavity's little crones. But I feel like if they just had another chance at life with like maybe a better human, they could really just I think they'd be more like my kitties, my cats, Clinton and Taxi, and they just need they cause mischief, they knock things off the shelf and rake Ming bosses, but they just needed the right person to give them the right amount of love.
Yeah,
and they would have been kind. And I think if they had been the Jellicle choice, it would have solved everything.
they'll get that in cats too.
Finally, the return of the Rumpus.
Return of the Rumpus.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so awesome. How can people stay in touch with you, find you on social media, and we'll put everything in the description as well.
Yeah, check us out at Lewberger, Lewberger, our YouTube channel. We have lots of great stuff coming through the pipeline. You'll see music videos for some of the singles that'll drop early, but then the album drops on June 23rd, which is Friday. We'll also have some more music videos coming out after that. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. On TikTok, it's Lewberger Music. That's the only difference. And then you can find me at Keith Habs. You can find Hughie at Hughie Stone Fish. And you can find Alex Lewis at the number 8, a thumbtack on Twitter and beyond.
I love it. Thank you all for humoring me through the cats, going through all this fun. The album is incredible, and I'm so excited for
Mike.
everybody to get to hear it.
Thanks.
Thank
Yeah,
you
we're
for
really excited
having us,
about it.
Mike.
And thanks everyone for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown the catastrophe. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any of us to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Wrong Cat Died, or check out our website, thewrongcatdied.com.